Yo, 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 what's up, party people? I'm Julie Foudy.
And I'm Lynn Ozawi.
We host the ESPN podcast Laughter Permitted, where we have candid chats with trailblazing women in sports and beyond.
We've talked with goats like Billie Jean King, Simone Biles, Mia Hamm, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Michaela Schifrin, just to name a few.
So grab a donut or 500 and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ally, who has supported us since day one. It's Laughter Permitted.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Everybody, welcome in. It's the Kenner and Kev show here on a Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day Eve, of course. Hope everyone's had a great day. Hope everyone's had a great week, and hope everyone has great plans lined up, of course, for Thanksgiving. I know as far as me and my family's concerned, me and the wife, we're heading out to Florida first thing in the morning. That's how we'll be celebrating our Thanksgiving, of course. But regardless of what your plans are, hope everyone's going to have a great time nonetheless. We have a shortened show today. Wright State basketball, they tip off at 5 o'clock. 4:45 coverage begins. Of course, we'll have a Wright State basketball pregame coverage taking over at 4:45. So over the next hour, 45 minutes, of course, we'll be talking Ohio State and Michigan, the big rivalry game, of course. We'll talk Browns-Bengals. The college football playoff rankings came out last night, and, of course, there was some explaining to do for the committee. Look, it's been a boring college football playoff rankings reveal over the last couple of weeks. We talk all the time about how things kind of sort themselves out. Well, that may not be the case this year. There are some things that are starting to happen where I think the committee's starting to panic. And I think the committee's starting to panic because they made an interesting move just last night that has people talking today that they're having a hard time kind of talking themselves out of, if you will. Okay, so we'll get to that here in just a second. College football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, of course, he's going to come in. We're going to talk all things Ohio State, Michigan, of course, with it being the week of the game. We'll talk about his experience playing in the game, and, of course, I'm really curious his thoughts on this. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as a Buckeye fan, just from a fan's perspective, there's never been a bigger buildup, in my opinion, to this Ohio State-Michigan matchup than this one. Every season, it's a big game. Every season, it's a big matchup. Every year, it feels like it's a big build. This just feels different. This just feels like there's more to it. This is more, like, we talk, that's bigger than football. This feels bigger than football. The dislike feels like it's beyond just the healthy dislike that you normally get inside the rivalry, right? So we'll talk about that with Keith Byars coming up here in just a moment, nonetheless. All right. Justin Smith says, have fun on the trip, safe travels, but why are you traveling on Thanksgiving, missing off all that food and football for TSA and airports? Listen, I work in radio, and if you look at the prices to fly out on Friday or today versus tomorrow, it'll all make sense. It was a difference of a couple of pennies. Let's just put it that way. But yes, traveling tip, if there is any. Flying out on Thanksgiving or Christmas morning is significantly cheaper, at least from what I found. But if you hear any noise in the background, by the way, we're getting a new roof put on the building, which I'm very excited about. Don't get me wrong. But yes, it sounds like there's just reindeer just running all up and down the roof, getting in that Christmas spirit, I guess. All right, so the college football playoff rankings revealed last night. Look, I think that this season there hasn't been a lot of chaos. You look at right now the fact that we are where we're at in the season. Look, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 undefeated teams. Usually we have 2 undefeated teams, and we're talking a lot about teams 3 and 4 and 5, 6, and 7 all have a shot to kind of interchange in there. That's not the case this year. In fact, here's the other thing I also feel as well. I think that there are one-loss teams that are as good as some of these undefeated teams, but because of the way that they have this tiered, Texas beat Alabama. I believe Alabama's better than Texas right now. I believe with the way that everything's kind of played out, I believe that Alabama, despite losing to Texas early in the season, I think right now, if you ask me which team is better, I think Alabama's the better football team right now. I think if Alabama and Texas played right now, Alabama wins. And I like Texas. I'm a big Quinn Ewers fan. I like Steve Sarkisian. I'm a fan of the Texas program. I actually want to see some new blood in the playoff. I want to see some big brands in the playoff. You know, I like Washington. I like their quarterback. I just think Texas would be a sexier draw in the playoff, if you will, than Washington, even with Michael Penix Jr., a Heisman contending quarterback in the mix, right? So Jordan Travis being injured for Florida State definitely throws a wrinkle in things. They moved down a spot. They went down from the number 4. They've been in the playoff picture from the very beginning, and now they drop out. They put 50-plus points up on the board over the weekend. They drop out. Washington gets a big win, don't get me wrong, but keep in mind, you know, how much of a role did the injury to Florida State star quarterback play a role in that? Now, so last night, the head of the committee was interviewed by Reese Davis following the rankings reveal. All right, so when this happened, you know, I give Reese Davis a lot of credit. You know, he put them on the spot right away. Said, okay, Washington was at 5 from the very first playoff rankings that came out. Washington was at 5. Okay, and Florida State's been at 4. Why all of a sudden now? What changed? What all of a sudden has led to Washington moving past Florida State? Florida State put 50 points up on the board, even with losing their quarterback. Listen to the question and answer here in this scenario.
What carried the day for Washington moving up a spot, the number 4 ahead of Florida State?
Yeah, it really was about Washington and what Washington did this past weekend and going up to Reser Stadium, tough place to play. Their defense has come around, has played well the last 6 quarters, given up a total of 20 points. Again, know that it was a rainy day, but in total, again, and that's what we're looking at, and y'all were talking different data points, but, you know, watching games does matter. And as we looked at Washington over the course of the season, looked at Florida State this past week in week 12, we decided to put Washington ahead.
You decided to put Washington ahead. Now, I don't mind that. They won 22-20. They beat a top 20. They beat a number 11 Oregon State. Like, I don't have a problem with them justifying, hey, we're really impressed with Oregon. Well, of course you are. Or with, we're really impressed with Washington. Well, of course you are. They're undefeated, right? They have a great resume. But that hasn't really changed. Like an impressive win over Oregon State, that's fine. You look at Florida State, who also is undefeated, who also, you know, has quite the resume, and they've been in the number 4 slot since the beginning. So why move them now? You could say, oh, this was more about Washington than Florida State. I call BS on that. I think we all know why they moved Florida State down. I think they all want to make sure that they don't let Florida State in without their Heisman contending quarterback. I think that's what this all comes down to. So to Reese Davis's credit, again, Boo Corrigan, he's the head of the College Football Playoff Committee. He makes himself available right after the rankings are released, and he takes all the tough questions. And to the credit of the panel, they actually do give him the tough questions, and they didn't let him slide on it. Reese Davis asked him, okay, well, how much of an impact did the injury to Florida State star quarterback have in their decision to move Washington past Florida State?
Okay, so what impact did the injury to Jordan Travis have on the evaluation of Florida State?
Didn't have any impact. As we're watching the game, Florida State starts off down 13. Rodemaker comes in to the game. They score 58 consecutive points. They got a lot of dudes on the field, Reese. They got a lot of guys that can play. And, you know, as we're looking at it, that's where we are this week. And, again, anything beyond that is going to be projecting.
Anything beyond that is going to be projecting. Again, I feel like if they because they are so locked in, like, okay, they moved Georgia past Ohio State last week. Ohio State had it wasn't an impressive win as far as the quality of the opponent, but I thought they looked impressive in how they did it. They put up 30-something points. Now they basically went to their bench in the middle of the third quarter and went, they took all their starters out. This is why, the coaches have such a hard time gambling with all of this, because what you want to do is you want to run up the score because style points matter. But when you run up the score against bad opponents, you risk injuries and you have big games coming up and ultimately the playoff and the conference championship and rivalry games and all that stuff. It's a tough balance. If Ohio State puts up 50-plus points against Michigan State, which they were more than capable of doing before they pulled all their starters against Michigan State, they don't get passed by Georgia. But you know what I mean? So then you look at this past week against Minnesota, same thing, pull starters late in the second half. They didn't overwhelmingly beat Minnesota, but they were overwhelmingly the better team. I mean, it's common sense. Just watch the game, right? So the style point's better. So Georgia's moved past Ohio State. I'm not really going to argue about that, but like we've seen that happen. Moving Washington past Florida State, okay, they justified it because they moved Georgia past Ohio State last week. But we can't sit here and say Washington, who has wins over top 10 Oregon and a top 11 team in Oregon State, and you don't move them past Michigan, who has beat nobody. Well, I guess they beat Penn State, but let's be honest, Penn State's not as sexy of a win as what it once was. They're a 2-loss team. You know, Oregon State now number 16, but they were number 11 whenever Washington beat them. So it's all in how you look at teams, you know, not where they were, but where they are now, whatever. But Washington resume-wise, I mean, the two most impressive resumes right now, Ohio State and Washington. Those should be teams 1 and 2 if it doesn't really matter. But you know what I mean? Like resume-wise, this is why I love this stuff because none of it makes any sense. They all talk out of their ass. It doesn't make, like I said, they don't make any sense. They just make it up as they go. Well, you know, we're impressed with Washington's resume, so we're going to move them past Florida State. Oh, you mean resumes? You mean the resume that is like a million, a bajillion, bigly? It's bigly times better than the stupid resume of the cheating Wolverines? Are you kidding me? Like, what are we doing? I'm fine with them moving them past Florida State. I'm not fine with them moving them past Florida State because of resume and then ignoring the fact that you have the cheating losers, the Michigan Wolverines, at their number 3. Stop pretending resumes matter for some teams and not others. Now, I'm a hypocrite because I've also been guilty of saying, hey, there's some teams that I feel like I don't need to see that team play somebody to know that they're somebody. Well, as far as Michigan's concerned, with all the cheating allegations around them, yeah, I kind of need to see them play more people to know that they're people, like to know that they're somebody. But it is what it is. It's all going to work itself out. However, what I'm fascinated by is, okay, Washington's undefeated. Okay, Ohio State, Michigan, they'll take care of themselves this coming up weekend. All right, but you're going to have Georgia, Alabama in the SEC championship game. All right, you're going to have a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State. By the way, Michigan loses. Their resume sucks so bad, I think that they don't have a shot at making the playoff when they lose on Saturday. Okay, Ohio State, if they lose a close one to Michigan, I could see because of the win at Michigan, or because of the win at Notre Dame, because of the Penn State win, and if it's a close loss at a number 3 team, Michigan, when it's all said and done, and they'll move up. You know, I think Ohio State still has as good a shot of making it of anybody. Okay, so if you have Georgia, let's say, they beat Alabama. Cool. All right. Let's say Ohio State, let's just for entertainment purposes, Michigan beats Ohio State. Okay. Now they're number 2. Now Ohio State has 1 loss. They're on the outside looking in. Washington beats Oregon. That's 3. And then Florida State's undefeated. You put them at 4 without their quarterback. Or do you put 1 loss Ohio State in over them? Like, that's where this stuff's going to really get interesting because Ohio State, with no Jordan Travis, a quarterback for Florida State, a 1-loss Ohio State team is still better than an undefeated ACC champion without their starting quarterback. Now, that won't happen. And I would be furious if I'm a Florida State fan. Kev would probably reach across this table and strangle me. He's a Florida State fan. He wouldn't like that scenario whatsoever. I'm fascinated by all the scenarios that are coming out. Every year the committee gets bailed out. I don't think they're going to get bailed out this year. They are going to have to look at championship level teams and tell them no. That's what I love about the 14 playoff. Every year it's been bailed out. 2 years ago, they let the Cincinnati Bearcats in. Everyone's like, man, the committee, they made a tough decision of putting the Bearcats in. No, they didn't. They were an undefeated conference champion. And the only other option was to put a 2-loss non-Big Ten champion in Ohio State. Ohio State bailed the committee out by losing the way they did to Michigan. Had Ohio State even beat Oregon that year, like Ohio State lost to Michigan, had they beat Oregon that season, Ohio State's getting in over undefeated conference champion Cincinnati. But it wasn't a hard decision for the committee to put Cincinnati in that year. It was an easy decision because Ohio State lost to Oregon and Michigan. Had they only lost to Michigan, they would have been in the playoff like they were last year with their only loss being to them. So is what it is. But I do not think the committee is going to get bailed out. Keep in mind, the scenarios are wild. You know, if Alabama with 1 loss wins in a close one against number 1 undefeated Georgia in the SEC championship game, how do you keep Alabama out? How do you keep Georgia out? Right? They haven't lost a game in 3 years. It'd be the first loss in 3 years, and we're going to punish them, right? Like, how do you do that? I mean, you can. It's justified, but how do you do it, right? Okay. Like we talked about, like if Michigan beats Ohio State, okay, Ohio State still has a shot, but Ohio State beats Michigan. Michigan's out. Their resume is not strong enough. Deuces. Go get your popcorn ready and wait to hear from the NCAA or wait to find out which NFL team is going to take your head coach because he's going to be a coward and let you guys clean up all his mess. All you guys defending him this whole damn time, and he's just going to let you guys look embarrassed as usual. We'll get to that later. Okay, but what about Texas? What if Texas goes on to beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game, and now they're a one-loss Big 12 champion? It was a very close loss against Oklahoma. Now, the only thing working against Texas is that Oklahoma is a 2-loss team. If you beat them, that's now a 3-loss team. Is that strong enough to put a one-loss Big 12 champion in over an undefeated ACC champion in Florida State? Oregon, if Oregon goes on to beat Oregon's 10-1. And Oregon, to me, I'm not going to lie, Oregon looks like the best team in college football right now. Oregon at least looks like the number 2 team in college football right now. And that's no shot at Ohio State. But Oregon, between the defensive numbers and the offensive numbers, the Heisman quarterback, everything else, Oregon checks off so many boxes. But they have a loss already. But what happens if they beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship game? Then what do you do? Like, the committee's screwed, and I love it. That's what I've been waiting for the 14 playoff, and that's why the committee is probably thinking right now, thank the Lord, okay? Thank the Lord that we're going to 12 teams, because a 12-team playoff, you know what? Ohio State, you're good. Georgia, you're good. Washington, you're good. Florida State, you're good. And Texas, you'd be good. And then you know what? We'll throw in Oregon. We'll throw in Alabama. We'll throw in Michigan. We'll throw in Texas. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just continue going. We'll throw in everyone. Everyone will be fine. Ohio State's a playoff team for the next 20 years as long as they have the 12-team playoff. Alabama's a playoff team the next 20 years. But it doesn't matter if they're a 2-loss team or not. They're getting in. The committee, they won't be challenged over the next. I mean, my gosh, let's look at right now, look at this. The LSU is at number 14, a 3-loss LSU team, a 2-loss Oklahoma, and a 2-loss Ole Miss. So you mean to tell me that if the committee has to make a tough decision, man, do we put a 3-loss LSU team in or a 2-loss Ole Miss team? Man, all of those teams don't deserve to be in the playoff to begin with. So flip a coin, give one of those losers the final 12 spot, and let's move on with their business. They won't have to make tough decisions. This 14 playoff, though, that's the tough decision that they're going to have to make as far as that's concerned. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the Kinner and Kev Show. Man, oh man. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars joins us in studio coming up here in just a bit. I'm curious his thoughts on the build-up to this Ohio State-Michigan game. Is this the biggest, most intense build to the greatest rivalry in all of sports? Is this the biggest build to this matchup in the history of the rivalry? We'll talk about that with Keith Byars. He'll join us in studio coming up here around the corner. Joe Flacco was introduced in Cleveland today. He was asked about his role in Cleveland. He said all the right things, but let's be real. Joe Flacco, you weren't bringing him into Cleveland just to hold a clipboard and encourage DTR for the rest of the season, right? Like, he didn't go to Cleveland thinking he would just be there for moral support, right? Like, let's be real. We have his introductory press conference, some clippings from that. We'll get to that around the corner. Cincinnati Bengals talk, Ohio State, Michigan talk. Keith Byars joins us in studio next. We'll be right back.
This is Keith Byars for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in Las Vegas, and it's now live right here in Ohio for all your sports wagering needs. Superbook has a team of dedicated odds makers behind the counter in Las Vegas setting all the prices. We're talking about guys with decades of experience showing you why Superbook has the best odds around. And right now, you can look ahead to hockey and hoops postseason and place a bet on who you think will take home the title. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Switch to Boost Infinite Wireless. Call 855-55-BOOST. Visit boostinfinite.com or go to amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the Steel Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $30 on the BG56CE handheld blower. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide. Real Steel. Find yours. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Thanksgiving done right starts at your neighborhood Discount Drug Mart. Fresh produce, groceries, and the best selection of wine around, all at one convenient place. Discount Drug Mart is open Thanksgiving until 6 p.m. for all your last-minute needs.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Wright State Raiders tip off at 5 o'clock. They take on Illinois State. It'll be the final game of the Gulf Coast Showcase. And then the Raiders will be off for a little bit, and then they'll be back in action next Wednesday, I'm sorry. And you can catch that right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Chris Collins will be on the call coming up later on, and we'll have Wright State pregame coverage starting at 4:45, so a shortened show today before heading into the holiday, of course. Nonetheless, Keith Byars will join us coming up here in just a few moments. I want to talk little Cleveland Browns real quick as we wait for Keith Byars to get set up, and we'll dive into the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry talk coming up here in just a second. So Joe Flacco was introduced earlier today at the press conference, all right, his introductory press conference, if you will. KB, I sent you the invite for the camera and all that. Will that work on that? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But now, if you're ready, we'll just bring you on now. If you ready, just pop on now. We'll just it's just kind of a wild Wednesday. It feels like a Friday. But,
all right.
You see, they put a new roof on the building.
I see that.
We're have you ever thought how spoiled we are around here?
How about no more? No, I would say no more leaks, but no, we don't have any leaks. But they're working the day before Thanksgiving. Not hard.
Well, their mindset was the email said, "Hey, we're going to have them work on the roof since no one will be on air on Wednesday." And I said, we are, but that's okay. Get that roof taken care of. They can get their job done so they go spend some time with their families this holiday season. But nonetheless, all right, it's the Kenner and Kev show. Kev out for the week. KB stepping in, of course, and KB was extra motivated to be on the airwaves this week, of course, because it's the biggest week in all of sports.
My favorite week of the year. 52 weeks in the year. I got to have 1 week that I got to be awesome about, and it's Michigan week. It's Beat the Team Up North week. It's the Dragon week. I'm excited to be here. Being a former player, I was always excited to watch Ohio State as a kid. That Michigan game is this Saturday. Then being at Ohio State, being able to play in the game and all the preparation that goes, to beat them on Saturday.
Yep.
And it starts the Saturday before. As soon as the clock hits 0 hey, it's all about Michigan. And usually it's
Let's
either
go.
an away game and something like that. And that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Michigan. So you are ready to explode Saturday at 12 o'clock. I'm glad it's at 12 o'clock, not at 7 o'clock, 3:30. Hey, you wake up and let's get it on because we don't get along. Let's go.
That's funny you say they don't get along. And I think that's a given. But I was talking about this earlier. So I saw someone tweet this out a little bit ago, Keith, that, Woody Hayes, he visited Bo in the hospital after he had a heart attack, right? Like, Bo gave a eulogy at Woody's funeral. The programs despise one another. You hate those guys on game day, but there's a mutual respect within the rivalry, correct?
Oh, well, you're talking about another little known fact about the relationship with Woody and Bo.
Yep.
The night before Woody died, it was a dinner here in Dayton. The Dayton Agonis Club had a dinner, and Bo Schembechler was the speaker. Woody Hayes had someone drive him down here to introduce Bo Schembechler.
No kidding.
Yes.
Here in Dayton
before he died. And, he passed away the next day. That's how close and, personal, because he wanted to be there to introduce.
That's wild.
Bo Schembechler.
That's wild.
So, I mean, and I was fortunate to know both of those individuals.
You were recruited heavily by both. Obviously, we know who you chose. So,
right. I knew Woody better than Bo, but I remember being at a dinner one time with Bo Schembechler, and he was telling me we're sitting next to each other, and he was telling me some things about how close he was to Woody Hayes. So that was special. I thought that was pretty good. I always had a lot of respect, for Bo Schembechler. I always hated his football team and hated him on those 3 hours every Saturday. But, that was just really fed into, the rivalry. Who knows you better than, your rival. And they were, they had a special bond in a relationship, with each other, especially, he was on the coaching staff, on Ohio State's, national championship team in 1968. And then he comes back and upsets them in 69, in the rivalry that started the 10-year war between Woody and Bo. And, I grew up during that era, during that 10-year war of, it was apropos, they both finished, 5-5. And so I always wanted to be a part, of that rivalry. And then if you're born in Ohio, you got Ohio ties, you automatically, by proxy, you're in the rivalry, because you're either live in Ohio, work in Ohio, from Ohio. And anytime you have dealings with people in Michigan, no matter what your business is, Ohio State, Michigan is going to come into, the conversation, no matter what. And that's what makes one of the many things which makes this rivalry, the biggest in all the sports. The only thing closest is Army-Navy. But this is huge, and that's why it's so special, to me. And when Ohio State wins for the next 365 days, I feel pretty good. Like, yeah, we did beat Michigan last year. And when we lose, it's a little piece of me just still perturbed for the rest of the year until we get back to this week, to this Saturday, when we get a chance to make amends for what's been happening the last 2 years.
College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars with us here in the studio. Of course, Ohio State, Michigan. The week is finally here, and we'll have it right here on 1410 ESPN Radio coming up this Saturday, as well as 92.9 Jack FM. Pregame coverage for Ohio State, Michigan starts at 10:30 a.m., and then kickoff will be at noon. As far as that's concerned, no surprise there. Everyone knows the kickoff time. But I asked about the relationship between Bo and because they hated one another, obviously, but there was obviously. Oh, my bad.
That's me messing up.
All good. Just got Oh, here we'll bring you into the chat. We'll bring you into the video feed. There we go. Now we're off.
I'm repping my Ohio State stuff too.
So let me ask you this. Bo, Woody, we talked about their relationship. We know how much, the rivalry, the two teams despised one another, but there was that mutual respect. That mutual respect does not exist right now. Harbaugh was asked a question about, do you have respect for Ryan Day and the coaches? And his answer, Keith, was, well, we're just focused on preparing for it. He just sidestepped it, refused to answer it. What? Nothing to do with the question. What stops you from just saying, well, of course we respect the rivalry, we respect all the coaches and players within this, and yada yada. What? The animosity towards Ohio State for their wrongdoings is just absolutely insane. But when you hear that, and now to be fair, not need to be fair to the Michigan side, Ryan Day was asked the same question, and now he got the second interview and heard the interview from Harbaugh. He did the same exact thing. He refused to answer it as well. He would not acknowledge that he has any respect for the coaching staff as well. Now, they didn't come out and say, I hate Ryan Day or I hate Jim Harbaugh. But again, sometimes, Keith, what you don't say is louder than what you do say. And I think we all heard him screaming it, and that was what they didn't say, of course.
Yeah, and I wish Ryan Day had answered it differently. Take the high road. They go low, we go high. I know a little Michelle Obama-ish, but we're Ohio State. We respect all our opponents, and that includes the team up north. Don't mean I like you. So there is a difference. So it's okay if Ryan would Day would say, I respect Michigan. Of course I do. We respect the team up north. I don't necessarily like them. So you don't have to like each other. I didn't like a whole lot of teams I played against, but I respected all of them. So I think Ryan Day misstepped that. He just probably didn't understand the question. And again, we're leaders. We're not followers. I don't care what Harbaugh or Michigan players say. It's what we do. And I think he could have answered that way differently. We have mutual respect for all the players. I respect the teammates. And it's not what difference does it make if I respect the coach? I respect the position, position that who's the head coach. A position is, to respect the players and things. I respect the organization. But we want to beat the snot out of you come Saturday at 12 o'clock.
But see, you're doing that trained athlete coaches speak thing.
Yeah, true. But I honestly believe that.
But this just feels different because how do you say you respect a coach and program that just caught cheating to the level that was because of the beatdown that you've given them for over a decade? First of all, yes, as far as Ryan Day is concerned, yes, coaches, even if you despise them, even if you wouldn't have the relationship with Harbaugh that Woody had with Bo, of course. But I was talking about this before you got here, and this is why I wanted you to sit here across from me when I asked this. Is the buildup to this the most intense maybe in the history of the rivalry because of all the extra elements to it? Because there's talk of all the extra security that's going to be going with Ohio State to this matchup. There's going to be extra security in that tunnel. Remember, the big house is so big that they only have one tunnel. There's all this talk about all the extra behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on to protect the players heading into the big house in this, because there's a lot more hated animosity in the buildup to this because the fans, it's the venom on social media is beyond what it usually is for this matchup, because it's not just about the game and the matchup. It's about the cheating and it's about everything else. You have former Michigan players dropping F-bombs and dropping cuss words all over national TV because they're ticked off. You have, what's his name? Desmond Howard, mocking every TV analyst out there that has anything critical to say about Michigan cheating. It just seems to be riling everyone up. Everyone is just fanned to the extreme for this matchup. I'm excited for it from a fan's perspective, but from a former player's perspective, do you get the vibe that the buildup to this is more intense than at any point in the history of the rivalry?
I wouldn't use the word intense. I would think intense isn't the right word. Maybe a different word would be, more people are chiming in that wouldn't have chimed in, and that would be a direct result of social media, more platforms, because the intensity of this rivalry, I'm thinking back during the 70s, with Archie Griffin and those battles they had in the 80s and the 90s. We all had, it's Michigan week. It means more. I can't be more intense. So I can't look at it today and use the word intense. It's more intense than what happened before me, but it has more attention. More people will get a chance to comment, but the same comments and the venom that's going on today was being held in every city in Ohio, every city in Hamlet in Michigan, because it was like, we didn't need social media to know this was a big game. Social media helps build up the game. But imagine when I played in a game in the 80s, it wasn't that many televisions comparable today. So we was a national game at Saturday at 12 o'clock. ABC would carry the game. That was went across, 7/10 of the country saw that Ohio State Michigan game. It wasn't no ESPN when carrying games. It was ABC, CBS, and if you're on that game at 12 o'clock, and that is the main. NBC didn't have any games, so it was more eyeballs.
Yeah,
but just as many eyeballs, and really more so watching your game. Like Ohio State, Michigan is still going to be the main game at 12 o'clock this Saturday, but they're going to have competition of other networks and other people. But it's Ohio State's going to win the timeshare and all that in the time slot, no question. But when you were on national TV, when I was in school in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, well, 70s, 80s, and 90s, 70s, 80s especially, your family who maybe lived in Texas, Pennsylvania, hey, they're going to be able to see you on national TV. Now your family in California, Wyoming, Michigan, Indiana, they see you. We have ESPN, we got NBC, we got Peacock, we got all these other things. Now it's not as a big deal. Still a big deal, but it was really more a big deal when it's less TVs and you're the main game. Even when I played in the Rose Bowl, that was the only game on New Year's Day at 4 o'clock. It was no competition. It wasn't we got to go against the Sugar Bowl or the Peach Bowl or any other bowl. The Rose Bowl was by always the only game on at that time. Then later on New Year's night, you had the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl competing. But so played Ohio State Michigan game, you were the main game. That was the game on Saturday, the last Saturday in November. When I was in school, it was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. It was big time. It was huge. So intense. Yes, it's just as intense today as it was yesterday and the days before that and maybe next year, because that's why it's another reason why it's the number one rivalry. I don't care what the records are. Ohio State, Michigan, people want to watch it. Both teams are, 5-5 or 5-6 going to this game. Everybody's going to want to see that game.
No, and by the way, that's the case if this stuff wasn't going on with Michigan. But this stuff with Michigan is what I mean by there's a whole other layer to this matchup this Saturday that has never been added to the mix in previous seasons.
Cheating on the job.
And you have, and the reason I brought that up, the coaches, is because you say everything starts at the top. Well, if it's starting at the top where the two coaches aren't even being able to be cordial in their interviews and the build-up to this, now players are going to feed off that. Now that's going to lead to more jawing because, well, hey, I got my coaches back. Well, I got my coaches back. Well, I got my teams back. I got my teams back. Okay, you're jawing now. I'm going to jaw. And now guess what? Now the fans feed off that. Now the fans see that. Now that's what I mean by the intensity of this being, it's not even so much, yes, you're going to get the natural intensity of this that's beyond any of the matchup.
And I hope it doesn't carry over to the field.
Yeah.
From the standpoint where I was upset with us last year. I said it to you. When I played in this rivalry, we always knew it's going to be the hardest hitting game that you're going to play in your career, your college career. But it's also going to be the cleanest, hardest hitting game you've ever played in. And because we know how high the odds are, the stakes, what's the stake, and you don't want to give away anything cheap. And when I say anything cheap, like being stupid, a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, that's not any room in this rivalry. And we had 2 last year. G. Scott Jr. had one. I'm like, that's not Ohio State football player. And even in the promos, when you see on television Ohio State, Michigan, you see David Boston and Woodson slinging punches at one another. That was in the 90s. That's not Ohio State, Michigan. That's not. Yes, we don't like each other, but their players don't take cheap shots at us. We don't take cheap shots at them. I'm talking about in the field of play. Verbal, that's one thing. And so I hate when they glorify that. Yes, we want to knock them down as hard as we can. Not necessarily even help them up. When they get up, knock them down again. That's what this rivalry was based upon. Not with throwing punches and stuff like that. Yeah, that was offsetting penalties. But last year we had 2 that wasn't offset. And if we have a 15-yard penalty this Saturday on some dumb stuff because you don't like something, that ain't how it's a classy. It's not us at Ohio State. We don't have unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That's not who we are. We're supposed to play at a higher degree of class. And we don't do that. Yes, we want to play hard, play intense, and between the whistles, hit them hard, and don't help them up. But no cheap shots. That's not what that. That's not intense. That's been stupid. And who are you hurting? You're hurting yourself, and more so, you're hurting the team. And there's no room for that. I mean, you're giving away 15 yards of real estate when you do dumb stuff like that, and maybe a possible ejection. So that's why I let all the extracurricular activities be at home, be in the stands, but not on Ohio State's sideline and on the field. We don't do that.
The tunnel. Now, some say I'm making a big deal of this. I was listening to Zach Smith's podcast last night, and he said he talked to some guys on the staff that have said that the NCAA has been very strict on both Ohio State and Michigan. They want the minute-by-minute itinerary as far as what the plan is for what time teams are making it onto the field, how they're going to keep the team separated. We've seen the rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State boil over, get heated in that tunnel. That's that drama, by the way. I mean, the Big Ten just full of drama every dang year. That seems like 10 years ago. That was just last year. We forgot about it.
I forgot about you said it.
Yes, but that tunnel, you've run out that tunnel.
Yep, a couple times.
What is that? Again, you go out in any tunnel against an opponent that you're about to go do battle with, that intensity is going to fill that, and you're going to have the John and all that. But it's Michigan. It's Ohio State. When you're running through that tunnel, what is that like right there when you're trying to make your way out? Michigan's right there as well. You got the fans coming down on you as you're making your way out. What are those moments like? Do you remember running out?
Well, it's not as bad as you think. The only bad thing is about it. You're like, what a horrible design.
The big house with
one
tunnel.
I mean,
it's like a 3-story house with one bathroom.
And a horrible locker room. So I guess is how you raise your maturity level. I'm not studying those guys. We happen to be walking out together because we're going to this field. And, you don't like me, I don't like you, and we're going to get it on. I don't even really recall anybody even saying anything verbal back and forth to one another. I know Michigan players. I'm not speaking, hey, Bob, how you doing? Hey, Tom. I don't care. You know what it is.
Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Want to go golf?
Yeah, I can't wait. You don't have my uniform on. So it is a clear line of demarcation who you are, who you're not. And then after the game, you walk on, or at halftime, you walking back up to the locker room. I'm focused on us. I ain't got time to think about you, or it's just not. No, it's not who I am, and not who I'm associated with. Guys, we're gonna let our helmets and shoulder pads and our play do the talking for us. Now, it's not gonna be no disrespect. It's not like they're gonna jump up in your face and start talking trash. And if that was to happen, then you make sure they get out your face. But nobody's going to, because Michigan player, remember, Bo Schembechler was there. He's not going to condone that kind of stuff. And we had Earl Bruce. He's not going to condone that kind of stuff. And I believe Ryan Day is not going to condone that kind of stuff. An Ohio State player wants to jump in front of, a Michigan player talking trash. We don't have to. They know what they're going to get. That's not who we got too much class and dignity to do anything like that. We're walking to the field. We have our business out there in the field. We walk off the field at halftime and at pregame and after the game. The talking is done between the white lines, not in the locker room, not in the tunnel, anything like that. Now, do they need security? Yes. Just because you may have some outliers, agitators, kids. Man, most of the time the talker will be, a walk-on or a red shirt guy is not even going to play that has the most to say. And, don't get, of course, they sacrifice that guy for one of our starters. So you have to recognize and keep your cool and your composure. And I believe Ryan Day has already talked to him about that. So, yes, have security on both sides of the locker room. Get a rope. I don't care. So the two sides never meet. Y'all stay within the rope. I don't care if you got to go single foul or, two at a time down to the field. But that's just all the distraction. Do all the talking between the white lines. You got ample opportunity to knock somebody's face in the dirt.
The Ohio State-Michigan ticket is set to be among the most expensive ticket in the rivalry's history. The average secondary market price for the tickets for Saturday, Keith, $1,262.
$1,200?
$1,200.
And what would be the average face value? I wonder what that is.
That just says to talk about the secondary market, but I'd say it's a big deal.
Merry Christmas.
For the next, my family, like, you can get that ticket, but don't expect Christmas for the next 5 years.
Exactly. You spent all your Christmas money right there for the next 4 or 5 years.
That's called a Christmas advance.
Yes.
If you ask me. All right. It's the Kenner and Kev show. It's the Kenner and KB show, at least here today, to get you set for Ohio State, Michigan on
Still
Saturday.
got 2 Ks. K and K.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Don't put that third K, though.
If
Don't
Kev
put that
was here,
third K in there. We ain't got room for that third K. Not here, not nowhere. Never. That's never a good thing.
I'm not talking. All right, we'll be right back. Kenner and KB, we'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
Your house is more than just a roof over your head. When it comes to protecting your home, you want a roofing company that you can trust. That's where Enterprise Roofing comes in. They've been serving the Dayton area for over 90 years and have over 1,000 Dayton area projects under their belt. They're a third-generation, family-owned business, and they're here to stay. You can trust Enterprise Roofing to be here, now and whenever you need them. Call today at 937-298-8664 to schedule your consultation.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Inflation is hurting families. Gas and food prices continue to soar, but skilled trade jobs are paying at an all-time high rate. Why keep working for less? If you are experienced in HVAC, have a great attitude, love serving people, and enjoy working hard, apply today at mcair.com. That's mcair.com.
We love saying it because it's true. Chevrolet of Troy has you covered for all of your auto service needs. We have the most up-to-date and state-of-the-art dealership with experienced service department that's second to none. In fact, we're the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. Our experienced professionals diagnose your vehicle quickly to get you back on the road. For a limited time, get an oil change for as low as $29.95. Chevrolet of Troy, 1375 South Market Street, and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Hams Oil, the #1 in synthetic lubricants since 1972. The Colonel here for Homestead Feed and Supply. Whether it's motorcycles, small engine, diesel, or high-performance gasoline, we got it. Come see us, Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
I'm not going very far. It's too uncomfortable. I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I just forget.
There's no such thing as a good excuse for not buckling up. You're not only putting yourself at risk of injury or death, it could also cost you lots of money. Cops are writing tickets, so why take the risk? Do the smart thing and start buckling up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler.
My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Switch to Boost Infinite Wireless. Call 855-55-BOOST. Visit boostinfinite.com or go to amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15.
If you're a sports fan in the Miami Valley, make sure you subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. Buckeyes, Browns, Bengals, local high school sports, Dayton Flyers, Wright State Raiders, and more. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube and subscribe today.
Justin Kenner, Keith Byars back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Shorter show today. Wright State basketball coverage begins at 4:45 at an hour from now, or just under an hour from now, I should say. Adam Campbell will have Wright State pregame coverage, of course, but we still have another half hour remaining. But Keith, a couple questions rolling in. Look, we'll get back into this Ohio State, Michigan stuff here at the top of the hour, but you and I were talking about, you asked who Flacco signed with. You've been golfing a lot. You've been under a rock.
I know.
You didn't celebrate when you found out that the Browns got Joe Flacco.
I was like, wow, they got Flacco's available. He was available out there on the list. Hopefully he doesn't play. Hopefully he doesn't play. He looks good holding the clipboard and talking to the quarterback on the sideline. I'm with DTR. Stay with him. 160
yards. Whew. I need to see more from DTR before I'm comfortable with that. I at least like the fact that he could extend drives and stuff. But man, they need to pass the ball and move the ball down the dang field. Like, that's what's driving me nuts with Cleveland. Like, they're in that weird spot where they have the best defense in the league. They have a strong run game, obviously a strong OL, but man, oh man. But yeah, they had the Flacco signing today. So they asked Flacco today just kind of his thoughts overall. Of course, where'd it go? There it is. So they asked Flacco his thoughts on his role with the team, and this is what Joe Flacco had to say at his introductory press conference today.
I haven't really looked that much into it. I want to take it day by day, and listen, I'm a veteran guy that's been around a lot at this point in the season with a team that's doing well. So I think there's a lot of different things that I can bring to the table, but I honestly just want to keep it day to day and focus on what I can. And right now, that's just kind of learning the offense and becoming a part of the team. So. Sure.
With him being an older veteran player, Keith, let's be clear. It's Cleveland. You went to Cleveland. You signed with Cleveland. You didn't go to Cleveland just to be there to cheer on DTR. You weren't there just to be like, oh, it's okay. Keep it up, buddy. You keep trying, right? Like, with everything he's accomplished, I don't look at Flacco as an all-time great by any means, but a very accomplished quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. More power to him, right? But you were out of the league. You weren't doing anything. You don't just come into the league to go to Cleveland to hold a clipboard for a rookie quarterback, right? Like, he's
you see what they're paying backup quarterbacks?
What's that?
You see what they're paying backup quarterbacks?
I'm trying to find what they're
paying him. Pretty good. He's making more than he's at home. So I see him coming in there. I hear what he said. I'm not sure what my role is going to be. Yes, you are. Hold the clipboard. Run some scout team. Loosen up the arm. It's not to play football. And if the Browns are dependent on Joe Flacco,
He played last year. He averaged more yards a game last year than what any of the quarterbacks are averaging right now.
Don't wait for bad Flacco. Let it be a surprise. And hopefully it doesn't get to him. Let him come in for mop-up duty.
What about Mr. Nick? You're talking about Nick Foles. You know, you look at your little Eagle shirt just poking
It's
through.
bursting out.
Yeah, it's bursting through your shirt right now. You're a fan. You're a former player of the team that is the epitome of the backup quarterback coming in and leading you to the promised land.
Okay. But he was always there from day one. They didn't sign him at week 12.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures.
So the Browns, it's okay to ride a rookie quarterback. It's okay to ride a young quarterback.
If you're rebuilding.
No, but they're having a great formula for success. They're playing staunch defense. They're running the football. Just hold on to the ball. Maybe it's still the Ravens formula for 2000. It's okay to punt.
You want to know what the success was this past Sunday? You want to know what the formula was? Kenny Pickett. That's what the formula. That's what the formula was. They're playing Russell Wilson this week. You're bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean,
But you know what else? What do I always say when teams get too much credit? The quarterback and the head coach gets too much credit when the team wins, too much blame when they lose. I don't even care about DTR statistics, against Pittsburgh. He got it done. He put him in position to win the football game, to set up the field goal. What was Kenny Pickett? Pickett been there. He got a coach fired. He got offense coordinator fired.
They should have been a package deal.
It should have been a package deal. You swung and missed. A lot of people in Pittsburgh are very, very happy. A lot of Steelers fans are very happy that they got rid of Matt Canada. I mean, he had a target on his back. Did we go back 2 years ago? Certainly all of last year and all season and summer and early fall of this year. The Pittsburgh people, they are loyal to a fault. And they've been waiting to get rid of him for the longest.
I was dying laughing. So when you can't sleep at night, things that you watch at 2 p.m. aren't as funny as things that you watch at like 2 or 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. And it was some Twitter account, Steelers account, and it said, we still respect the work that he put in here. And this is a tribute to Matt Canada or whatever. And it was the Canada,
the national anthem.
But it was just nothing but highlights of bad plays from the Steelers offense. And I don't know why I just got a kick out of that. I just at 2 a.m. That's some funny stuff right there, nonetheless. But they're talking about offensive coordinators and stuff. Byron Leftwich. Talking about bringing him in. Obviously he's played there.
Yeah, Byron Leftwich used to play for the Steelers.
Yep, used to play there. But let me ask you this, because this is what's happening right now. You look at Washington, you look at what's going on with Bieniemy. Washington's struggling, right? Now, that's not because of the offensive coordinator. That's because they don't have a good offense. And now there's talks of they're just going to clean house and just start all over with coaches and from head coach to, move on from what's their coach now? Why am I drawing a blank? I'm actually a fan of his too, and I can't even think of it. He coached the Panthers back in the day. Either way, there's all the talks of Washington cleaning house, starting over, coordinators and everything.
You're talking about Matt Rhule.
No. I'm talking about Washington.
Oh.
The head coach at Washington. But either way. So that's where Bieniemy is, offensive coordinator. They're talking wiping house. So Bieniemy has to leave Kansas City to go be a coordinator elsewhere to show that he wasn't just having success there. But you got to be careful. You got to be selective with what jobs you take, because you'll be blamed for the mess that you went to take over. And if you can't make that mess work, they're going to say it's you and not the mess. Well, if you're Byron Leftwich, and all the talking points about, why he's not an OC somewhere, a head coach somewhere and all that stuff, you got to be careful. Even though it's Pittsburgh, I'd be very selective about where you go next, because it's not about where you go coach. It's about who you're going to coach. And if Kenny Pickett's supposed to be the guy that makes you look like a good offensive coordinator, more power to you. Like, good luck, because I don't think any issue. Like, Matt Canada wasn't good, but the quarterback wasn't helping him, and he wasn't helping the quarterback. Byron Leftwich could help Kenny Pickett, but I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to help Byron Leftwich when it's all said and done.
I totally agree with that. I mean, what do you do with him if you're Pittsburgh? You're still in the chance for the playoffs. If you go to the playoffs and Kenny Pickett is your quarterback, can you count on him to win those games?
How come you don't say the same thing about him that you do DTR? Come on now.
No. I'm getting.
They need a Joe Flacco. That's what.
So it would almost behoove Pittsburgh to lose this season out. I'm not advocating losing, but to get a better quarterback. Or are you going to make the mistake the Jets did, instead of looking for a quarterback this offseason, They did. They went and got Aaron Rodgers, but they should have been looking for something younger instead of Aaron Rodgers. So the Jets still haven't answered their question. What they're going to do at quarterback, because Jack Wilson is not the future quarterback, and neither is Aaron Rodgers.
They took the
is
starting
not
job,
your future.
They took the starting job from Zach Wilson, and now he's the third string quarterback. Like, you didn't get demoted to backup.
They were way back. No, not in the seat. Go back another seat. Get away from me. Get away from this field. So the Steelers need to make that decision this offseason. I don't care. They went to the playoffs last year.
By the way,
Ron Rivera.
Sorry, thank you, Ryan Strong. Continue. And
now, even if they make the playoffs this year with Kenny Pickett, is he the quarterback's going to help you win the Super Bowl? Will he do his part? On the Super Bowl run, and he didn't do it last year. Will he do it this year? It is this year 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
and you could have had Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and I've said this too. Me and Kev talk about this all the time because the Steelers brag all the time. Man, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. That's
correct.
Great, but how many years of
you probably won't have a losing record this year either.
Yeah, how many years of 8-8 back when it was 16 regular? 8-8. Now you're 9-7 and all this stuff. It's like, okay, that's great, but you're running in place because what you keep doing when you win 8 to 9 to 10 games and you're not a Super Bowl contender. Now you miss out on all the top draft picks, and you're just mediocre. You're getting mediocre first round picks, mediocre second round picks. Now again, you could find gems. You could draft.
I don't know how your first rounder. You're not mediocre. That's kind of strong.
Well, I mean, no one.
Your first rounder. You shouldn't be.
Well, no one's tanking for the 15th pick in the first round, Keith. Come on.
No, I got that, but you're still getting first round picks, and you need to hit on your picks.
No. I guess it's like. And by the way, the only option at quarterback is not the first 5 picks in the draft. I get that, but like, people when they talk about tank for Tua and then blow for Burrow and all those other weird little slogans that they have. I don't know.
Cincinnati said, "You don't worry, we're doing it anyway."
They did.
Sorry, Bengal fans.
We don't bash the Bengals on this program, Keith. I don't know if you read the rules or not. The Bengals. We Bengals fans. We've kind of gotten along a little bit lately.
Okay,
coming in, rocking the boat, but no, So Pittsburgh, it's almost like they run in place. And they almost win at the expense of the bigger picture, which you never want to encourage losing. But, I've said this before. I blame the NFL. I blame sports. When you incentivize losing, when you reward bad teams with the best players out of college, of course the teams they're not going to be incentivized to try and win. So I hate that, but that's just the nature of it, and that's the reality of it. So who knows?
Yeah, I know. But what does Pittsburgh need? They need a quarterback.
They are a quarterback away. I've said this before that if the first pick of the
they
draft,
got 2 good running backs. I like Warren. I like Najee Harris.
The receivers
are fine. Tight ends there. They needed somebody to pull the trigger.
A stronger, maybe an offensive lineman or 2, and a great quarterback, and not even an elite. You're just a good. I mean, that's where they're at right now. So I've said before, Keith, if you look at the draft, the number 1 draft pick always goes to the worst team, right?
Right.
What if you rewarded, what about those teams that are trying to make the playoffs and they just missed? Those 8-9 win teams that, man, we were trying, but we were a win or 2 short of making the playoffs. What if the number 1 overall pick went to the first team that just missed the playoff? Now you have all your playoff teams who are good. Now you have the middle of the pack teams. Now they're getting the better players right off the bat. Now you've strengthened the middle of your league. And now the bottom teams, well, how do they get better? Well, now they're forced to spend in free agency. Now they have to go improve their team. So now we're trying to better our roster so that now we're more competitive to be right there in the middle. Now everyone's winning. Now everyone's trying to win. And that feels like it's a healthier direction. And I say this because, okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they would have the number 1 draft pick more times than not because they're always right there at 8-9 wins. Imagine if Joe Burrow coming out of college goes to Pittsburgh. Imagine if the Trevor Lawrences go to Pittsburgh instead of Jacksonville and 2 lost Cincinnati and the bad teams just constantly getting the good team. You know what I mean? Like that's what's wild to me.
But I'm gonna answer that a little differently. I don't think there's anything wrong with that formula where the worst teams get the best pick. What is wrong with it? Nothing wrong with that. Most NFL teams, they're more, lack of a better word, I'll say corporate. If you hire more football people who knows what they're doing, you would be able to pick the right guys more often than not.
Yep.
You look at the Patriots during their dynasty era, a lot of times they win the Super Bowls or in AFC championship games or losing the Super Bowl. Where are they picking? They're picking at the bottom of the draft, yet they're constantly there. How are they doing it? Sometime with a few years, they was trading out of the first round to stockpile draft picks Give me more seconds and thirds and fourth rounders, and I'll have them playing like first rounders in a year or two than you taking this first round pick and he doesn't work out and he's held you back for 2 or 3 years, which the Patriots, like, we're already at the epitome of this league. We're one of the last teams to pick because we had a really good season. How are we going to stay there? That is by picking, quality picks, not only in the first round, but a lot of second and third round draft picks is going to be the heart and soul of your team. You can't make a living strictly off first rounders. Yes, the Bengals have done that the last couple of years. They hit good on Joe Burrow, hit good on Jamar. And T was the second round, but at the top first rounders. So they've done that. But how many times have they swung and missed? A lot. I mean, Joe Mixon was a second round pick, right?
He was the first. He was the second round.
Second rounder. So they did well with that pick. So if more teams hire more football people, they will do better. Look at Detroit Lions. They got Dan Campbell, who loves football, been around football a lot. Chris Spielman's now in that front office, and their front offices have changed over the years. And now they are, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs this year, but they're
8-2. They better make the playoffs.
You never know. But I'm just saying, look at what has happened in this is year 3. In 2 years of Dan Campbell and Chris Spielman have been there. They got more football people around there. So that would be more formula. I would encourage more NFL owners to hire real football people. And I'm not just saying you got to play in the NFL. That certainly helps. It helps a whole lot more so than people want to give it credit for. And the reason why they don't want to give it credit for former players being in there is because they want to, hire their buddies. They want to hire accountants and stuff like that. There's room for accountants. The New England Patriots guy, he married Bill Parcells' daughter. Gosh, he's a good numbers guy, but he ended up being,
help you. I'm sorry.
He ended up being a general manager, for some teams. I'm like, dude, he's not a football guy. He's a numbers guy. I'm looking right at him. He was with the Patriots tonight, so I would have to look it up. But heck of a nice guy, but he doesn't know football. He knows how to make salary cap. If you sign this guy and this guy, I know how I can make it fit, to give us some salary cap relief. That's what he does. I mean, and so every team needs a guy like that. But don't confuse that guy who's good with numbers with good in evaluating, talent and picking talent. That comes from players and people who study the game and been around the game a long time, not just on leverage longevity because you've been in the league 25, 30 years. Still don't know, you know what you're doing. You just had a job for 25, 30 years. But when you bring in real football guys who knows what you're doing, you can, pick a whole lot better. I mean, look at the Cleveland Browns. They don't have a number one receiver on that team. A true number one. Amari Cooper, I know here's some people. What about Amari? He's a number 2. He's a good second receiver. He's not a number 1.
He might be one of the best number 2s in the league, but you're right. He's a number 2.
He's a number 2. And
I'm a fan of Amari.
You didn't go after Garrett Wilson? You didn't try to go get Chris Olave? And are you trying to make a way to get Marvin Harrison Jr.? He's in your state. You've seen a lot of football him. So go get one of those guys to be your number 1 guy. Olave hasn't busted out yet, but he has a potential to. Garrett Wilson had a rookie of the AFC, rookie of the year, last year, offensive rookie of the year last year. The Browns didn't try to make man, he was available.
I remember they didn't have any first round picks, Keith.
Make it happen.
They kind of let
it, Don't worry about it.
Everyone's all worried about the Deshaun Watson. They gave up all the first round picks.
But look what the Bengals did. They drafted Joe Burrow in the first round. Next year, they don't need a receiver, but they go get Jamar anyway.
Because they had to win 2 games to do it, Keith.
Nonetheless, they still win.
The Browns, they ain't about that 2-win life, all right? They about that 0-win life, that 0-16.
No, that was Justin Kidder, y'all. Y'all know Justin's voice. Bengals, that's to get him.
Oh, yeah. All right. Kidder and KB today. Kidder and Keith Byars live here on 1410 ESPN Radio and our Thanksgiving Eve show. When we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, we'll put the bow on the Michigan talk. We'll get Keith's final analysis and the build-up to Ohio State,
give you directions
Michigan.
on how to find that stadium, too. A few of you guys that are going that way.
All right, he'll have those directions for you when we come back. It's the Kidder and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-2668. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-2668. 800-583-2668. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Black Friday weekend sale begins this Friday at Boot Barn. Visit us in store for savings on top quality pieces. Get up to $40 off cowboy boots for men and women, $20 off select work boots, and select children's boots for under $50. We're closed Thanksgiving Day to spend with family, but we look forward to seeing you Black Friday weekend for our biggest sale of the year. Boot Barn. Unwrap the West.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits, a $25 Frickers gift card, and get 5 frickin' bonus pots free. Let them get what they really want.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
It's your lucky day. This Friday until noon at Mattress Firm, shop Doorbusters and get a queen mattress for $89.99 while supplies last.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast calling for mostly cloudy skies, 32 tonight, sunshine, and 49 Thanksgiving Day. Mostly sunny, 43 Friday. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
Need legal help? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Have you heard about our new help center? It's located at the Montgomery County Courthouse, providing legal information and forms. And we also share programs and resources that may be available to you. Let us help you navigate the court system. Visit us online at courthouse2u.com for more info.
I'm not going very far.
It's too uncomfortable.
I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I just forget.
There's no such thing as a good excuse for not buckling up. You're not only putting yourself at risk of injury or death, it could also cost you lots of money. Cops are writing tickets, so why take the risk? Do the smart thing and start buckling up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti, and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
Shop the best deals of the summer now at Lowe's. Save up to an additional $1,000 on select major kitchen appliances. And for a limited time, save up to $3,165 on select 4-piece LG kitchen suites. Plus, save on hanging baskets of annuals. Right now, get 2 for just $15. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 6/28. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Hanging basket offer in-store only and excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits. A $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
American Girl Doll Live in Concert brings American Girl's most beloved characters to life on stage, live at the Hobart Arena Friday, December 8th. Tickets at hobartarena.com.
Every Thursday at 3 p.m., Kinner and Kev will kick off the show with the voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Paul Keels. Don't miss the Kinner and Kev show, weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kenner, Keith Byars back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We have about another 25 minutes remaining, and then, of course, it'll be we'll hand it off to our Wright State basketball coverage, our pregame coverage, 5 o'clock to tip off Illinois State, the Wright State Raiders. They wrap up the Gulf Coast Showcase this afternoon, and then they get to enjoy Thanksgiving after playing 3 straight days. But coming up on Saturday, Keith, the big one, of course. Let me ask you, how tough is it? It's not tough. No one feels bad for these players right now. I mean, they're living the life. I mean, this is the game you want to play in right now. But it's Thanksgiving week. How do you balance that? By the way, what was that week like? Were you do players get to go home for Thanksgiving?
Their schedules changed maybe about 10 years ago now.
Okay.
The game used to be the last Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, we didn't have, how it changed. Your turkey tasted better when you beat me. It was a little better Thanksgiving holiday.
You maybe took that extra slice of pumpkin pie or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. But now they have a different schedule. They have Thanksgiving together as a team, and I think some of the family, comes in, and so it's more of a team dinner. We spend have Thanksgiving with family with your dinner, with your teammates more so than with your family, because that is your family. So they spend a lot of time. So I think they've had some time to get adjusted to it. I'm still trying to get adjusted to it because I like my Ohio State Michigan game this Saturday before Thanksgiving, but it's post Thanksgiving now. And when the Big Ten championship and all that stuff came into play, they had to change it around.
So with this, we talked about your time playing in this rivalry and what the rivalry means and the drama with Harbaugh and Ryan Day. But strip all that away. So there'll be no Harbaugh on the sideline on Saturday. First of all, when you talk about this type of matchup, it's all hands on deck. How much does Harbaugh not being on the sideline put them at a disadvantage, or does it?
Yeah, I think Michigan players have to answer that one. And I think it may be a time or two in the game when, the head coach has to make that decision.
Because he's coaching now. He's able to be at practices and stuff.
There's so much cheating going on. How I know he's not coaching on Saturday? Does he have a burner phone? Does he have a phone to call into the press box to tell him to run certain plays? Everything is questionable. I mean, is he suspended on Saturday at 12 o'clock, or is he suspended on Friday? I mean, is he there to talk to the team all the way up until it's time to take the field? Can he be in the locker room in pregame? I don't know that answer to that question. I mean, does it mean he got to stay at home and cut off all communication just because you're not coaching the game?
What if he just shows up?
I mean, because against Penn State, was he in the locker room against Penn State? Where was he? He stayed back at the team hotel? And who's to stop him from calling one assistant coach's cell phone? Or the fill-in for the other guy. One is a GA's cell phone. They tell him next series, I want to see this run on first, this run on second. I want to see blitzing.
They're a sneaky bunch.
Yes, so all that's available. But Ohio State can't worry about that. You're not playing against Harbaugh physically. You're playing against Harbaugh's mind. You have to trust your preparation and all that, comes with it. So I didn't care if Bo Schembechler was on the other sideline. I'm trying to beat these 11 guys on this field, trying to beat Michigan. And if Ohio State needs to focus on themselves, not who Michigan has available, not available. And we need to work on all 3 facets of this football game. You have to usually win. I mean, offense, defense, and special teams. If anybody was talking about wondering what facets I was talking about. And to win football games, you usually have to win at least 2 of the 3 areas of that facets of the game. And what concerns me, this year, we winning games with defense and offense. Special teams hasn't won us any games this year. And most people think special teams mean, oh, you mean the last second field goal or a game-winning field goal? That's special teams? No, I'm talking about all the special teams. I'm talking about field goals and extra points. I'm talking about field goal block, extra point block, punt returns, kickoff returns, kickoff coverage, punt coverage. I don't think we've been great in those areas all season long. Whereas you're seeing a lot of every Saturday, you see on your television, block punts by this big-time program, a big punt return by this big-time program, a kickoff return. Ohio State hasn't had any of that this year. The closest ball we blocked this year was against Rutgers off a bad snap, and the punt still got away. We just got a piece of it. Our special teams have not been special at all season long. And if there's a game for them to finally step up and help us instead of hurt us, it would be this game. I'm just thinking, look at against was it Rutgers? We run a fake punt in minus territory. That's not good. You know, I mean, our punting. I mean, our fake punts. Michigan State runs a fake punts against us coming out of a timeout. They left the game, the running back in the game, wildcatted on 4th and 1.5, and they pick it up. So hopefully Ryan Day has been emphasizing all those areas. I think back to when I played in the Michigan game as a freshman. I'm the backup fullback. I'm not even the backup tailback. I'm the backup fullback. But I was on first team, punt team, and kickoff team. And Ohio State Michigan game over the years of the rivalry, you never know what area is going to be the difference of that ball game. Last year, it was the Michigan big runs, the explosive plays they had against our defense. Overall, our defense did pretty good on first and second down, but third down they killed us with big runs and big plays. If was a fifth, But if we take those big explosive plays out of the Michigan game last year, it's a different ball game. But you don't get to do that. So I go back to my freshman year. I'm on punt team and kickoff team, and they have one of the best, if not the best, kick returner in the country, a guy by the name of Anthony Carter. He's really special. He's the original number 1 jersey guy, for Michigan. I'm just a freshman. He's a senior. I'm like, this guy is awesome. He's not going to, return a punt or a kickoff on my side of the field because I don't want to be the reason why we lost the game because I got out of my lane on punt because everything was really important to me. I'm like, man, I'm starting on punt team. I'm starting on kickoff team. I'm going to get down there, and Pepper Johnson, my roommate and best friend, was on the other side. We like, hey, man, I'll meet you at the football. And I ended up tackling Anthony Carter in that game. I got to tackle him on punt team. But I felt good. I was like, Anthony, you could change this game at any time, but it won't be on punt team, not on my watch. And if we had more special teamers with that kind of attitude, whereas, our special teams coverage this year has just been average. It hasn't been outstanding. We've given up a couple big punt returns, some nice kickoff returns against us. Let that be your difference maker in this game. Michigan has a solid defense. They got one of the best offensive lines, in the country. So offense and defense, we got our work handled, got our work cut out for us. What difference are we going to make in special teams? Last week, Michigan, they got a block punt. They got 2 points on special team. They scored twice on defense. All those little things would be one of the deciding factors, in this game come Saturday.
Justin Kenner, Keith Byars with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Last thing on the way out here, Keith, just your final take with special teams obviously going to be very key because, we know who Michigan is. We know who Ohio State is. We know what their strengths and their weaknesses are.
We know who Kyle McCord and J.J. McCarthy are.
And it's going to come down. Obviously, the run game is going to be key. We know 2 great defenses. We couldn't say that a year ago. 2 great defenses right now and 2 solid offenses with potential. We have breakout players on Michigan with the running game. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Ibuka, you have Cade Stover, and then let's not forget Trevion Henderson, who, by the way, has been as efficient, if not better, than the star running backs on Michigan this season as far as his production, especially over the last month. You talk all the time about peaking at the right time. I feel like Ohio State's playing their best football of the season, which I don't feel like Michigan's playing their best football of the season. They've looked a little shaky the last couple of weeks. Now, in this rivalry, you throw all that stuff out the window. They bring the best out in one another. But Ohio State's playing their best football.
They need to peak. They need to peak. They need to play their best game of the season, Week 12 against Michigan.
Yep.
We've seen 11 games of Ohio State football. We like the Notre Dame. We're like, okay, now we're ready to take off. It didn't quite take off the way we expected after the Notre Dame game. Then we beat Penn State. He's like, oh, man, that game, should we stick it a little bit better offensively? But, hey, we won the game. And I remember after the Penn State game, I said the difference between us and Penn State, one team has Marvin Harrison, the other team does not have Marvin Harrison. Now here we are, this game against Michigan. We have got to have our best offensive game plan of the year. We're as healthy as we know, because they don't give us all that information, than we've been all year. Now, one thing I would love to see us do on Saturday, you watch out for this on Saturday. I don't know if Ohio State's going to do it. In our passing game, anytime we pass the ball, 85% of those passes ought to be off some type of play action pass. I think Cal McCord plays his best football when he has some kind of play action. Make his reads easier. So I would love to see us run up in our fair share of formations. I'm not going to give a percentage, but our fair share of formations with Marvin Harrison and Emeka Mbuka on the same side. Then on the other side, you have Julian Fleming, Cade Stover, and the back in the backfield who can work, Travion can work either side as far as to be the safety valve. If you work on let's go back to the strong side where you got Marvin Harrison and Emeka Mbuka. If you got them on the same side, one of those guys are going to get doubled. And so you got to permit, if Michigan, there's no way they're going to play man-to-man with those two guys. We won't. If we do that, we're just going to lick our chops and just wear them out. So, make them commit an extra defender. They're going to have at least 3, possibly 4 guys just on those two. Whether you got a third defensive back or extra linebacker over there, work that 2-man game. And if you don't like that, Cal, work the 2-man game backside. Now you got Cade Stover one-on-one with a safety or one-on-one with a linebacker, and Cade Stover is going to win more of that. If he's covered, now you throw the dump-off pass to Travion Henderson in the flat, one-on-one with a linebacker in space. Travion is going to win 9 out of 10 of those things, and we move the ball. And so when they don't, like in the 2-man game with Marvin Harrison and Emeka Mbuka, just because they're a double team don't mean they can't get the ball. You run some routes where they can still expose it and make Cal McCord's job easier. You're just going to be a good old riverboat dealer or just deal the cards. Don't try to do too much. Just take what they give you. We line up in some of those formations. They can't be right. Whatever way the Michigan line up, make them wrong. So we do that offensively. Take care of the football and move the ball. Stay out of third and forevers.
Penalties,
third and 4 or less is not all bad. So first and second down has to be better. Something that C.J. Stroud heard for 2 years while he was starting quarterback. You need to run more. If he would only run, well, throwing 40 touchdowns, I need to run. But we need to see Cal McCord possibly, if need be, extend a few plays. But when you run play action, you won't have to. You don't have to hold that ball. And so I'm not asking him to be perfect. I'm not asking any player to be perfect. You can't play a perfect game. But that would be our formula for offense. Defensively wise, don't be so concerned about giving up big plays you forget about the little plays. Everybody, maintain gaps, play aggressive but smart. Keep them in third and long. Keep them in third and 6. And the turnover battle. You have to win the turnover battle. You never know when that tip ball that went off somebody's hand, we got to get it. That fumble, we have to recover it. We have to do that, everything a little extra this game. And so everybody has to play their best game. And I already mentioned special teams. We got to get that edge. Whether we block a punt, whether we have great returns, and certainly limit their returns, keep them, backed up, win the field position game. And I'm saying all these things because that's everyone's goal on the team. That's how you beat Michigan. You don't beat Michigan, on Saturday. You beat them all week long. That means every player this week gets some extra rest. Be ready because you'll remember this game in any other game that you ever played for the rest of your life. This is what you'll be judged on as an Ohio State football player. How'd you do against Michigan? Did you beat Michigan? You didn't beat Michigan? And here it is 15, 20, 30, 40 years later when you sit back and talk to different players and you meet a player. Did you never beat Michigan? Like, wow, man. You had a great career, but y'all never beat Michigan. You don't want that on your resume. We put that on their resume. It's a ton of Michigan football players who never beat Michigan, because we was, sweeping them, knocking them off the bat, knock them out the bat. And as an Ohio State football player, you want to beat Michigan. You want that on your resume. C.J. Stroud almost came back to Ohio State just so he can put that on his resume. But he's, he was part of a winning team, so he does have a pair of gold pens. Justin Fields, was a quarterback his freshman year, so he does have a victory, over Michigan. Has a pair of gold pens. I have a couple of pair of gold pens, and I'm telling you, there's nothing better than beating Michigan, being in the locker room after the game, and after every game, one of the traditions of Ohio State inside the players' locker room is we sing the fight song. You see them on the field singing Carmen, Ohio, our alma mater. But when you get in the locker room, after every victory, we sing the fight song. But when you beat Michigan, not only do you sing the fight song, you sing our Michigan song, which is you don't give a blank about the whole state of Michigan. Well, don't give a darn.
We can say damn.
You
We
can
can
say
say that we don't give a damn about the whole state of Michigan.
Because we're from Ohio. That song rings in my ear, and I can't wait to sing it on Saturday around 3:30. I'll be singing it in my house.
You've won at the Big House and at the Shoe.
No, I only won at the Shoe.
So let me ask you won at the Shoe, which winning in front of your home fans is great, but
Yep.
if you had a choice of winning at the Big House or winning at the Shoe, you winning at the Big House, you get to see the disappointment, all those annoying, miserable Michigan fans. But then when you celebrate at home, or you win at home, you get to celebrate at home. You could only
Well, you still get to see their faces because your fans crowd the field. They storm the field.
So, where would you rather get a win over Michigan? At their place or at home? You want to win all the time. You know what I mean?
I know, but
which one would mean more? A win at the Big House or a win at the Shoe? Which
win
one
at the Shoe.
Yeah, win at the Shoe.
I didn't send my fans home disappointed. It felt good to win at the Shoe.
See, I'm a petty person. I would just love to see them.
I mean, yeah, I would have loved to win at Michigan, made the bus ride and the flight home a little smoother because you're just so mad that they're on the field and they're celebrating and you're in the locker room upset. Wait till next year. I had to wait till next year. Really, I was 2-2. Won my freshman year, lost my sophomore year, won my junior year, lost my senior year. So after losing my sophomore year to Michigan at Michigan, I scored 2 touchdowns that day. Yet it wasn't enough. And I said, okay, next time when we played on my junior year, 2 touchdowns didn't get it. So I need at least 3. So I scored 3. And we won 21-6, and we went on to the Rose Bowl. So, yeah, that made it feel even better.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us here today. Keith, thank you for taking time and coming in. Have a happy Thanksgiving, of course.
You have a happy Thanksgiving. I can't wait to get to that turkey.
I can't wait to get to Florida.
I've seen some memes. I've seen the turkey say, hey, temperature on Thursday is 350 degrees. Yes.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday weekend, and enjoy Ohio State whooping up on that behind of that team up north coming up on Saturday. That's for sure. Until next week, it's been the Kinner and Kev Show on 1410 ESPN Radio. Coming up next, Wright State basketball. The Raiders taking on Illinois State, and it's their final game of the Gulf Coast Showcase. Adam Campbell will bring you Wright State pregame coverage coming up here in 7 minutes, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the
Gulf Coast Showcase. It's game number 3. The Wright State Raiders in third place game against the Redbirds of Illinois State University out of the Missouri Valley Conference. And Coach Nagy, first tough loss yesterday. Guys disappointed.